Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another video. And today I want to talk about, I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to think, what's the biggest lesson I've learned today? What's the most important thing that I'm taking out of today? You know, that's what it is. I remember I promised myself I'd make this video yesterday. I want to talk about the victim mentality and getting rid of the victim mentality. You see, the thing about the victim mentality is victims never succeed. They never get what they want. They never win. Ever. The victim mentality is basically, I know that I could be better if I did more and tried harder and worked harder and was willing to put myself out there and fail more often. But I'm not going to do that because I'm scared of the pain of failure and shortcoming. So instead, I'm just going to blame X. I'm going to blame, whatever it is, my parents, my circumstances, my genetics, and just say that it's a lost cause and it's not my fault. But I guarantee you there are people out there that are doing better than you who started with less. I guarantee you there are people out there that are doing better than you who don't even have as high of potential as you do. But the difference between you and them is that they chose not to be a victim. They chose not to adopt the victim mentality and instead adopted a mentality of, okay, here are my strengths, here are my weaknesses, but I'm not going to let my weaknesses define me. And here's what I can be doing better instead. And then they just go and they do better. That's what it's about. It's about saying, I don't care what my circumstances are. I don't care how much natural ability I have or how much talent I have or how I was born or, what I look like or where I live or, what gender I am, what race I am, how tall I am. I don't care because I'm not going to let these things define me. Instead, I'm going to define me. And I have the power to change my situation with enough time and enough effort. And I have the power to be so much more. And I'm willing to accept the adversity and the challenges and the failures and the rejections and the fear and the uncertainty and the humiliations that are going to come with that process. But in the end, I'll be proud of myself for having done so much more. That's what it means to drop the victim mentality. Try to think about an area in your life where you're playing the victim Maybe if you're a guy, maybe it could be with girls. Maybe you say, oh, I'm not naturally good looking enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not, I don't have good genetics. Well, I guarantee you there are things that you can do to be better and to make your situation better and to give yourself a better chance with women. You're sitting there and you're seriously telling me there's no area where you could improve that would give you a better shot? Let's look at another area. What about like your career? Oh, I couldn't afford to go to college or university. I'm not that naturally smart. I don't have a gifted math brain, or I don't have a gifted business brain. I guarantee you there are still things that you could do better, though, that would make your situation better, that would progress your career. Oh, I have X responsibility. I have Y responsibility. You're telling me that with proper time management and scheduling, you couldn't fit in a lot more work on the things you need to improve on? I don't, or like, let's pick another area. Like, say, oh, my parents did a bad job. My dad left me. I was raised by a single mother who, worked 2 jobs and didn't have time to teach me the stuff I need to succeed. Well, come on. Like, you're an adult. You're telling me you can't learn shit on your own? Once you reach adulthood, once you reach 18, you're responsible for your own life, man. Like, your life's in your hands. And that's a good thing because it gives you more freedom. It's also a challenge. But, once you stop, like, actually being dependent on somebody, like, I mean, man, there are even kids who probably have had to fend for themselves growing up and have been able to succeed despite those circumstances. Because they didn't play the victim card. They just decided to hell with it. I'm not letting my circumstances define me. And I'm gonna take the cards that I was dealt and squeeze every last drop out of it. I'm gonna play that hand as best as I possibly can. Rather than fold, say, oh, I got a shit hand, There's nothing I can do here. Sure there is. Look at the best poker players in the world, man. What separates a great poker player from a bad poker player is the great poker player is able to win with the shit cards. Because they learn how to play the game. So your starting point, it means nothing. It means nothing. Yes, some people might start a little ahead of you. That doesn't mean you can't catch up. That doesn't mean you can't pass them. It's never too late, you know? If you're scared to get started, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Start now. And you might surprise yourself. And just, you know, start small. Baby steps. That's, I think, one thing that a lot of people are scared of. You know, you don't start at level 0, and when you're at level 0, you go to level 1. You don't start at level 500, you know. You make the changes that you want to make slowly, one at a time. And then over weeks, over months, over years, you make steady progress and you get better and better and better. A lot of the times it's really demoralizing because you don't see the progress that you're making until you really look back a long time ago and you say, wow, look how far I've come. Yeah, just a thought. So my challenge to you is to think about areas in your life where you have the victim mentality and try to make a shift. Like, I'll give an example for me. I haven't been really successful with girls in my life. And that's partly because I told myself, I played the victim. I said, oh, well, I'm not over 6 foot. I'm not a naturally good looking guy, you know. I don't have great physique genetics. I don't have amazing facial features. Women only want money, you know. My parents didn't teach me how to properly talk to a woman, how to treat a woman. That's a victim mentality. That's a victim excuse. You know, I gotta look at myself and say, so you're telling me there's not things that I could do to look better, to present myself better? I can't, you know, learn through practice how to properly connect and talk with a woman? That's bullshit. Of course you can. There's always things you can do to make yourself better. You just have to find them. And yet you do that through trial and error and trying and failing, and eventually you find things that work for you. You find solutions. There's always a way. There is always a way. No problem in life is unsolvable. There's not a single unsolvable problem on this planet. But you just have to have the agency to be willing to solve that problem. You got to be willing to go through the struggles in order to solve the problem. But it's possible. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It just starts by realizing that there's always things you could be doing better, and that blaming anything other than yourself is a complete waste of time and energy, and it won't get you anywhere. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed recording it. I enjoyed talking about this subject. So I hope to see you back here again tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.